whispers from the wished-for well. When a bracelet's gleam betrays the bitter brew of belonging, what if the trinket you tender weren't mere metal and magic, but a mirror to the mercy you've long forsaken? A bracelet's beguiling band encircling not just wrist, but the weary wanderings of a world that wove you from weakness, demanding you dispense hope's hazardous handful amid the howling hatreds of history's hidden hands, much like the cursed rings of Tolkien's tempted thralls or the whispered wards of witch-hunt widows in Salem's shadowed eaves, where one granted grace could gird a girl against the gale, or merely mock the giver's guarded grief. Inhale the crackling comfort of campfire's cordial caress laced with the undernote of unease from encroaching evergreens. Taste the smoky sweetness of shared stew on your lips like a longed-for lullaby from lost kin. Feel the fragile flicker of fellowship's fingers brushing yours in the firelight's forgiving fall, as levels lie latent like landmines beneath the laughter, birthing a benevolence that battles the bile of betrayal's past. This is the bittersweet benediction of my gift LVL 99.99 Unlimited Gacha's Episode 5, The Bracelet of Wishes, Nagai no Banguru, which clasped audiences on October 31, 2025, coiling tighter into the revenge arc's vengeful vortex, where light's labyrinthine legions lurk as latent lightning, his surface sojourn now a subtle symphony of subterfuge and sympathy amid the elves' encroaching enmity. It ensnares from the ember's edge, a hearthside harmony of humanity's halting him that hints at horrors hovering just beyond the horizon, teasing the precipice of the adventurer-killer arc without the plunge. Have you ever huddled by such a blaze, embers etching echoes of your own orphaned aches onto the air, soul suspended between the salve of strangers' smiles and the specter of strikes yet to strike, pondering if a single sparkle could summon solidarity or merely spotlight the solitude you sow? The episode evokes that ember embrace, its glow gilding just shy of the gathering gloom, suspense a subtle snare around your sympathies, curiosity the compulsive crackle of concealed crises, luring you to lean closer, to let the light lick at your latent longings before the bracelet's boon breaks into bloodied ballad and the hush following Episode 4's Guildhall Gambit, where light's lowly lure ensnared a squad of starry-eyed sprouts amid the stratified spires of surface scorn. This chapter kindles kinship's quiet kindle light veiled as the scarred dark, dovetailing with his makeshift ments, Mia's muted metal, Elio's elven earnestness, Bragi's boisterous brawn, in a mantis-mauling melee that masks might with modesty, evoking the earnest escapades of the Fellowship's fledgling forays through Fangorn's fringes. Post-pestilence, a nocturnal Nestle by nocturnal flames unfurls unbidden affinities, light's largesse lavished in a luminous loop, a bracelet's bequest that beckons benevolence's bloom, while whispers of woodland woes weave wider webs. Elven extremists, Yanarak and Kaido's kin, kindling kidnappings for kaleidoscopic cruelties that cast covetous eyes on the encampment's callow crew. It transitions not in tumult, but a tender tautening, threading the thread of tentative trust toward the arc's apex of annihilation. Cliffhangers chill a cadre of cloaked captors cresting the copse. Can you not sense the sap-scented shiver on your skin? Hear the harmonious hush of hopeful hymns hushing into horror's herald, stoking the savage spark to shelter by the fire and fathom the fracture before the flames feed the fray. Episode 5 advances the Odyssey with the warmth of a well-tended wick, propelling light's reprisal from reconnaissance's ripple to relational reckoning, where the mantis melee unveils his understated supremacy, a revelation that ratchets the revenge from solitary spite to symbiotic surge. The bracelets bestow a twist that tantalizes the adventurer-killer arc's ignition, faithful to Light Novel Volume 1, Chapter 7, The Campfire Covenant, wherein the gift's glow girds not just girth, but the gathering gale of elven experiments. Pacing parley's a poised pulse, protracted in the post-battle parley by the pyre, akin to the reflective respites before Lord of the Rings Rivendell revels, cresting to crepuscular creeps that crest without crestfallen crash, dramatic equipoise, exquisite equilibrium interweaving intimacies itch with incipient incursion. Fans fret over cloudy aspects, the bracelet's boundless boon seeming serendipitous, light's level eye landing too lightly, or the elves' experiment's eerie ease, but Volume 1, Chapters 6 to 8 demystifies the armlet's aura, an SSR Wishweaver rarity, detailed in the novel's appendix on Gacha Guardians, activates via Affinity's apex, not arbitrary award, priming Mia's mettle for the melee to come, echoed in Chapter 7's racial ripple effects. Light's low-key legerdemain leverages Veil of Vigor veils from his vaulted vault, mitigating mana mirages that mask mastery. The elves' ease, per the source's satirical skewer of supremacist schisms, stems from stratified scouting, not haste, but hierarchical hubris, enriching the anime with the LN's unflinching on Affinity's asymmetries, beckoning back to the book's blueprint for the orphan oath, that orphans old oaths in favor of newfound nexuses. Light doesn't merely mingle, he melts, his psyche a prism pricked by pyres. Poignant prickle, fissures from familial fractures, Ellie's echo ever present, fostering a fleeting faith that's transformative in its tenderness, choices to close cloak conquest in camaraderie consistent with his cunning core yet surprising and solicitous shade, motivations mutating from monolithic malice to mosaic mercy, a tapestry of the tyke who trusted too tenderly now threading tentative ties as tentative trials. Mia emerges from maiden to mirror, her muted mistrust, scarred by slurs and solitude, yielding to yearning's quiet quake, her kindness a kinetic kernel that humanizes the host, dialogues dripping with dawning devotion that surprise with synaptic synergy. The elves, Yanarak and Kaito, crystallize as crystallized cruelty, their hidden hatreds, fueled by folklore's foul favoritism, propelling predations that propel the plot, consistent with their cabal's callous creed yet transformative in their targeted tenacity. Belonging here is the bracelet's beguiling bind, light's lavish loop a labyrinthine lesson in power's protean play. Does dispensing dominions dribble democratize despair, or distill the donor's doubt, manifesting in Mia's murmured thanks? As a grotesque gospel of Getter's grace, hope haunts the hazardous harbor of half-forged families, survival stratagem dueling sacrifice's spectral snare in the campfire's cordial core, evident in light's lingering largesse, a Faustian feint evoking the Foster's forge in and of Green Gables green-gabled graces turned grim, where despair's dragnet yields to vengeance's veiled velvet, much like refugees' reluctant reunions in Rwanda's rainy remnants. Interrogating. In a world where weakness weaves the weakest web, can one wish weave the wanderer's whole, or merely wind the wheel tighter toward woe? Elven enclaves and experiments etheric edicts graft granular grit onto the gacha's gleaming gloss, introducing affinity accords, cultural covenants capping creeds, per volume 1's interludes on etheric ententes, that complicate the cosmos with conspiratorial cleavages, enriching the ether with ethical entanglements while the adventurer's archipelago teases transnational treacheries, transmuting the tapestry from trope-trod terrain to textured tableau where gifts gild as grievously as guild guises, the script simmers with stiletto subtlety, keen as a campfire's crackle concealed cut, its poetry pulsing in the profane paeans where scarred stranger falls like a feigned flourishes fatal feint, lines like Mia's murmured mending carrying the gut-punch gravitas of Les Miserables Javert's jagged jests flipped to fellowship, foreshadowing floods of fallout while reverberating in the roll credits reverie like a rigged roulette's reluctant reset, impactful, ironclad against Ice-Guy's inanities. Even Elio's earnest entreaties arrive with Ingenue's innocent ire, evoking the elliptical exhortations of the secret garden's secretive soliloquies, each enunciation an ember of the endless. I harbored the hearthside heart-to-hearts, there yank a yoke on my yoke. When did a stranger's solicited salve last sync with the suppressed symphonies in your own solicited silences, ensnaring you to revisit, to reread the ripples before they recede to reverie? Art direction drapes the domain in dusk's dubious dyes, campfire copper veined with crepuscular crimson, lighting lacerating low-born looks in liminal luminescence that opposes the overlord's opulent ooze, shadows slithering like suppressed summons in stasis that surges to skirmishes spasm, fluidity in feigned phrase a fantasia of ferocity forged in facade. Beauty binds as bittersweet, symbolism sculpting sorrow's sacrament where palettes play parses the poignant ploy of power's parlor pretense, cinematography consorts with the charlatan, gliding glissandos through glades gloom heighten the guise's hallucinatory haze, compositions cramming confabs in chiaroscuro clutches akin to witnesses Amish amber auras, editings, ebbe elegiac escalation, lingering low angles lulling into lightning lashes that lash back with your own lactic burn, tension tempered taut as a tumbler's turn, your gaze grappled by the gambit that it bound me, this benediction, a poignant puncture of pretense and peril, infiltrations each mirroring the muted mutinies I've mediated in my own mirrored masks, wonder whisked in the woven warmth like huthfire after a hunt's harsh haul, moments mar, that confluence of courtesy and cataclysm, a breaking point where banter breaches the bulwark, shifting semblances into something irrevocable, raw as the instant a false friend's facade fractures in a foxhole's flicker, conjures universal elegies, identity's inheritance twisted by intrigue, as in Bronte's windswept wutherings, resonating, in cloaking the conqueror do we cloak our fractures or flaunt the forgery? You taste it, don't you, the tart tease of a tipped tankard on your tongue, the surge of a stratagem unspoken? It's no mere mummery, it's musing, marking with queries that haunt your hearth's hush, demanding dissent until the desire devours delay, through reverse reading, the episode's opacity, bracelet's boundless boon, the elf's ease, might murmur as missteps, pacing's pastoral preludes perilously poised on prolixity's precipice. Yet reframe, these are no narrative nicks, but deliberate dies, obscurity out of the light novel's layered ledger domain, Volume 1, Chapter 7's etheric evasions, thematic totems twining ice-sky irony with introspective inquiry, convolution a cat's cradle complicating catharsis. The delver's dynamics occasionally grate like an unfiled burr, a calibrated cavil, it accelerates attachment's allure, dodging drudgery, though ancillary arcs averting a tad toward archetype. Esteem endures, in a genre blooded with gloss, this restraint refines, alchemizing quibbles into quests profound. The bracelet of wishes prevails in profound poise, narrative nuance navigating the nebulous, artistry animating the arcane, fleeting fogs fading before a script that stitches souls, weaknesses mere wisps in the weave. It fulfills the saga's summons, not rote rebirths, but the rite of reckoning with the reflections we flee, where overlords eclipse outcasts not in overt ousting, but the humane heresy of healing haunts. I foresee fangs flashing in feigned fellowships anon. Yet whisper this, wayfarer, as the screen's sable fades and that final faint glints unyielding. Will you shun the shadow summons, or step into the guise that's been gilding your grievances since the gacha gleamed? The masquerade beckons. Your mask begins with the beckon.